Hello. Can anyone around here speak basketball?
There it is.
It's the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast.
Trust in Masai. Welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Freddie Rivas. And who, sir, are you?
I'm the producer, Matt Duncan. Freddie, how you doing today, sir? Good, sir. Hello. Oh, see, I've got the energy of the podcast in my veins still. The listeners have no idea what's coming.
A lot of action's coming. Maddie's jacked. I'm jacked. We just had a hot pod. It was really funny. It was really fun.
Yeah.
I'm doing good.
If you need an energy boost, this is a good one for you. You know?
Very good energy boost. We are a Raptors podcast. We're hardcore fans. We're analysts.
Yep.
We've been through a lot of losing. We've also been through a lot of winning. Things are good. We're excited for this season. And, we'll talk about this pod a little bit, but, just in case people want to know how to help us, how to join us, anything involved in boosting, just people like us who are striving for Raptors and podcast greatness. How can they do that, Maddie?
Dunkspodcast.com. That's our website that you can go to listen to our episodes, to go to all our social media links. If you want, you can click on the Sonar button there. That's our podcast network. It'll send you light speed to the Sonar site, and then you can see all the podcasts there, as well as our guests and everything else. It's a real fun time over there. But you got to go back to the original. You got to go back to that Tony Hawk skateboard. That is dunkspodcast.com. Got lots of good stuff there. We even have some old, writing material and stuff there if you really want. But, hit up our link trees if you want to, buy a toque, get in contact with us, join our Patreon, and, just keep supporting any way you can. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we really do appreciate it. And we've been growing, and it's all because of the, word of mouth and listeners of the pod, and shout out to the Sonar Network, and shout out to you, Maddie, always rocking some nasty audio, some tricks and some tips, and other flubber related content from me.
I feel like I could take a bunch of Alexey's his takes in this episode and turn them into stings. I might have to do that with a couple of them.
We might have to do that, and that's a perfect segue. We had two amazing guests. Cathryn Naiker, who you know so well. She does the podcast more than anyone. She's such a fantastic guest, and shout out to her. She's got a huge comedy album taping coming up, so we plug that later, and she'll let you know if you want to see that, where you can go. It's nice that some things are coming back. It's exciting. And, of course, we have Alexey Ots, who I don't think either of us realized. I certainly didn't, hadn't done the podcast, or the last pod he did was right before the pandemic.
March 2nd. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't clue that in at all. And he hadn't been back since. Poor guy. He's doing good. He's got a lot of ideas, a lot of enthusiasm. He was an absolute joy to have on the pod. Obviously, Cathryn is too. She's the most frequent guest. But, the collective energy was really fun. And, heading into a season like this, that might be a little bit funky. Masai talked about a little bit on the front burner with CBC today. Just that, it's going to be lots of throwing spaghetti at the wall for the Raptors. Lots of development. So we're in that time. And I think if you're wanting a sharpened contender, this might not be the season for you. But it's going to be a fun season.
Yeah. Just to say, I guess we'll just have to call them the bricklayers this year, because I'm sure they're going to be tossing a lot of bricks at that rim this year.
That's right. It's going to be a lot of bricks.
Some loud thunkers, too.
That's right. There's going to be some good D, though,
Yeah, good D.
We're going to steal the ball, and then we're going to turn it over. There's going to be a lot of that,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I feel like we're ready to go here. So we can probably just kind of hop right into the pod.
Yeah.
But also say make sure you check out the Sonar Network, all their awesome podcasts there.
Yeah.
Me and Cathryn run a podcast there too, The Pickup, and they're always putting out new podcasts. So make sure you check all those out, support them, and yeah, I think. But before we get cracking here, I will say we got an election coming up, so make sure you email your city councilors, make sure you vote, make sure you're involved, and of course, Black Lives Matter, stop Asian hate, defund the police, and I'll say it again: email your city councilors. And I think with that, if we're ready to get this started, Maddie D, if you could just give me those deliciously glorious words, okay. All right, let's get going on episode 214, I believe. We're bringing back a guest who hasn't been on the pod in a very, very long time. I'm so excited to have him. The last time he was on the pod, I think, was right before the pandemic. I'm just connecting this, and yeah, it's been far too long. He's an eccentric guy. He's a hardcore Raptors fan. He's got some new ideas coming out, filming in his backyard. There's going to be insects, wildlife. It's some David Attenborough stuff, but like more intense, I think, and hope. Give it up as loud as you can, even if you're at home alone, for Alexey Ots.
Hey, Freddie!
Hey!
I thought you were going to have me back because I caused a pandemic.
No, absolutely not. You didn't cause the pandemic, and you're welcome back. I'm sorry it took so long.
Listen, I'm so honored to be back, and I'm really, really excited about this year of Raptors basketball. We're going to have a really good year.
I think so, and I think it's going to be a hardcore Raptors fan year too. Let's just keep this train moving and bring on guest number 2. If you listen to this pod a bunch, you know her, you love her. She also rocks Buckets and Tea and the Pickup, a WNBA podcast with me. She's an incredible stand-up writer for a bunch of shows you know and love. Give it up as loud as you can, even if you're at home alone, for Cathryn Naiker.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
We really felt your intro that time.
Thanks. Yeah, I got into the music a bit more than usual because I always felt like the intro music was too cool for me, but then I've just learned to embrace it over time. So now I feel cool, even though I'm saying that makes me explicitly uncool.
Listen, nothing's too cool for you. I just picked up a side table that is one of the coolest side tables I've ever seen. Okay. This thing is just patterned in different ways.
Oh my God. Okay.
It's awesome.
First of all, I have to say thank you to Freddie. He did a big favor for me. So currently I live in Hamilton, but I'm moving to Toronto, and I bought this side table at a store in Toronto, and it needed to get picked up before I moved because the store is moving. They're having a moving sale. So I asked Freddie if he could pick up this little table for me, and he did.
It was no issue. The only thing I will say is when I went to pick it up, I started describing, what I was doing, and the woman looked very puzzled, and I was like, man, I'm so bad at any form of shopping. Like, this just isn't going well. And I was like, oh, I could like show you a picture. And she was like, no, I'll get it. But was like kind of like moving a bit slow. So I was like, man, I did something wrong. I kind of pissed her off. And then I actually went back to the phone to look the picture, and she had gone around the side. And when she came back, she was in like a boot, like she had just injured her foot and was moving so slow. And I was like, oh my God, not only did I misinterpret your like reaction to me, I also didn't help you, and your foot's hurting. So, yeah, that's where my head was at, but it all went well. The side table's dynamite.
Well, thank you so much. I feel like I owe you for the social awkwardness more than I do for the favor itself. That sounds like torture.
No, it's all good. You got my back. One time on the pod, you just got to tell your Kia nurse, someone thinking you would. Actually, you know what? I'm just messing this all up. I thought you had a Kia nurse story, but then I'm remembering that you ran down the same steps as Kia nurse. And listen, this is great podcasting. Let's get to some Raptor stuff before I kill any new listeners here. Maddie, I know you're there. Please, good sir, give me your most delicious, non-Aaron Baines sounding Raptors sting.
Hashtag RTZ.
Meow. Alexey, let's start with you. What, in your opinion, is the best outcome to the Goran Dragic situation? You know, as a Raptors fan, as someone who wants the team to win, everything included.
Well, I honestly, this is one of the things like with Masai, it's always we just can't lose. We can't lose at anything because, all right, we got Precious. That's the part that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares what happens with Dragic? Dragic could drag his blood up here to Toronto. He could not show up. He could do whatever. We could buy him out. We're not going to buy him out. We could do whatever. We will win either way. His contract is expiring. By the end of the year, he's going to be very, very attractive to a lot of other teams. And either way, if we play him, we don't play him. You know, we like somebody I heard earlier today say, we play him, we're going to get his trade value up, and somebody's going to want him. So, but if he doesn't play, I don't care. Who cares? We got Precious.
Dude, I honestly agree 100%. You know, and we're going to talk a little bit about Kyle later, and you know all the trade deadline stuff and the major players there in Maxey and Tyler Hero. And man, oh man, I'll take Precious out of those three guys any day. Just I've watched only a little bit of Precious, but the fact that, you know, like you touched on with Masai, it's hard to lose when someone's just playing the long game and they're determined to kind of have the outright win, even if in the interim it looks a little bit confusing or there's some lumps. And I think Dragic is, you know, is just a bonus. And I'm not sure if we'll buy him out or we'll get a trade for him or what exactly. I think there is some kind of date that comes into play. I'm not exactly sure. I feel like it's early October. Something with Dallas, I believe. Certain contracts kick in or something that's going to affect the cap. It does seem like Masai's less intent on doing him right. And, you know, he was intent on doing Kyle right and intent on getting his guy in Precious. And I think for Goran, when people were upset that he didn't want to come here, you know, Masai's response was kind of perfect because he was like, I actually don't care. So
yeah, send him to Sacramento if he gets to be too much a burn inside. We'll send him like Terrence Davis out to Sacto. That's what we do. You know, you're not going to work with us. You don't want to work with us? Hey, all right. You're stupid, though, because we could make you a better player.
I love it so much. And I love the you know, shout out to any fans of The Wire, like the Jimmy McNulty treatment, where it's kind of like, oh, you don't want to go where? That's where I'll send you. Cathryn, you're having a good time. I can't tell if the bee or the wasp is back, but
No.
it's
No,
not that.
The wasp finally is dead, but it is in my view, so that's disturbing. But it's fine. It is dead. I was killing a wasp prior to us recording. No, first of all, I have to say, Lex here has the best take, followed by the greatest amount of optimism possible for this Goran Dragic situation. I mean, I do feel like a lot of fans took it real personal when he said he didn't want to play here. Felt really old school, you know, felt real like suddenly I was transported back to the Alonzo Mourning, almost a Raptor days. Like, and I'm in a different place now. Like, can we just, as fans who have won a championship, just be in a different place now? Like, I am in a different place. Like, it's like, okay, you don't want to be here, fine, then just go. Like, you know, like as a young girl, maybe I didn't have like the best self-esteem, and like any guy, like, you know, they give me like a little bit of attention, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like freaking out. What do I text back? When do I text? Blah, blah, blah. Now I don't care. I don't care. You like me, you're here, you're here. If you're not here. And then that's fine. Go away. And that's how I feel. I feel evolved. I feel evolved as a fan. I feel evolved as a woman. Okay. I'm evolved. So I don't care. I don't care if he shows up or not. Honestly, I would barely notice. You know, it would only be like the Twitter sphere that would remind me that he was even a part of the situation at all. Hopefully we get something nice back for him because he was a part of the whole Lowry deal. But if at the end of the day it ends up being like a buyout situation, worst case, then whatever. It is what it is.
Okay, I just want to say the mindfulness and like just in the moment presence on this podcast right now is a 10 out of 10 from both of you.
We all low-key had therapy right before this.
Yes.
podcast.
Everyone had a nice conversation with Phil Jackson and went strawberry picking with him and Nick Nurse, and we're just absolutely in the zone. Things are feeling good. Let's move to the kind of Kyle on the CJ McCollum stuff, Cathryn. And my question is, Kyle Lowry has went on the record kind of saying he did not want to be traded at the deadline and wanted to finish the season with the Raptors. He, wanted to support his guys, as he said. And, just to be extra specific, he did give them two teams, Miami and Philadelphia. So I think we know, the Lakers stuff was meaningless. A lot of people felt that at the time with, Taylor Horton, Taylin, Horton Tucker. That was a little bit of like, yeah, that's Lakers nonsense. But there was real stuff there with Philly. There was real stuff there with Riley. We talked about it ad nauseum on the podcast. I remember saying a bunch of times, I don't know how a deal is going to get done with Masai and, Morey and Riley. And we even talked about this a little bit last week. So, yeah, my question is, is it surprising to you to hear that Kyle wanted to be here during that season?
Okay, so this is why it is surprising, because he hardly played after the trade deadline, right? He sat out for quote unquote rest, even though he was, for all we knew, healthy for a lot of those games at the end. I actually don't even know what was his actual last game, because
Lakers.
It was the Laker game. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair. Because it was just like he was sitting out for so many of them. And then also too, that game prior to the deadline, like he threw up those juices. Like he said,
He did.
He said bye. Like he thought he was going. So, I mean, I understand him not wanting to be traded and wanting to finish the season as a Raptor. And I think, he has so much love and respect for the city, the fans, organization, etc., that it makes sense in that regard that he would want to stay. But I am a little surprised based on how it all played out. But either way, like none of this is all semantics too, right? Like I'm not, I in no way am I like feeling a type of way one way or the other. Like Kyle put in his time. We all kind of expected him to move on. It would have been a shock if he stayed. Let's be real. I mean, it would have been nice, but it would have been a shock if he stayed. So, whether he left in March or in July or August, like makes very little difference. But yeah, based on the way it all played out, I am a little surprised.
Yeah. And I think that surprise is a little bit fair. I framed it, this question a little bit like, no one should be surprised, but I'll even say just to be kind of candid, when he did throw up those deuces in the Denver game, it was such a remarkable, just instance. And it did seem like at the very least, he was unsure of what exactly was going to go down or not. And I think, like he said in the podcast, like him and Masai had an open dialogue, and he probably trusted Masai, but at the same time, it's a business. And if you got traded to the Thunder for a bunch of random pieces, there probably would have been a part of him that was like, man, this sucks. But also I'm not 100% surprised. Like things do happen in the NBA. Norm around that time basically asked to not be traded. So I think there was a lot of energy I guess spent just wondering. And, sometimes when there's smoke, there's fire. I probably beat the dead horse of just saying like, I didn't expect him to 100% get traded, but I didn't fully rule it out either. And I'll also say that I think there's a part of this that is kind of goodwill. And I think he did want to win probably that season. I think he didn't want to leave during the pandemic and all that. And I also think him saying he wanted to win at all costs, I always kind of feel like I need to clarify that yes, players want to win, but I think more than that, they want to get paid as much as possible. And I think that was definitely a part of this offseason. Kyle is a winner, of course, but also he wanted the bag. He wanted that like 85-90 on his way out. And, Masai helped him get him. And that to me was also in line with people were so sure he was going to walk for nothing. And I never fully understood that because I don't know how that was going to be facilitated. And I didn't expect him to go to the Knicks or the Pelicans or whatever. Alexey, are you surprised to hear this? Is this in line with what you thought?
Well, this is the thing to me that's really interesting about what happened with Kyle Lowry is for his whole career in the Raptors, the fans were saying he was going to get traded. Every couple of years, whenever it was this or that, Kyle Lowry said, you know what? And this is the way the Raptors are, that trust and that communication between management and the players. He said, you know what? I'm going to show the fans I can control my own destiny with this team and still not screw them over and still do good things for the team. And I think that that's an underlying little bit of it, that Kyle Lowry controlled his own destiny, even though the fans for years, trash Raptor fans, talking trash about him for years, and he left on his own terms. And you know what? That's for them.
Alexey, speak your truth. I'm digging this hard. Like, you know what? But I guess I do think there is, for me, it's not necessarily like trash Raptors fans, but I think there is a certain, I don't know, Toronto self-loathing that people can't shake off.
Listen.
Even Masai coming back, he was like, why do you all hate yourself so much?
I have a burning desire. I have a burning desire, Fred. You have to let me talk for just 1 second on something.
Oh, I'm sorry, please.
I grew up in Tallahassee, Florida. It's Florida State Seminoles country. We care about our football team no matter what. We're like Fox News. We'll spin everything the way we want to make it right for that team. Oh, that was a fumble. Oh, no, he just slipped. We'll do whatever to protect our guys. That's where I come from in a fan base. Now, this fan base in Toronto, it has been used to the Leafs for years and years, the pessimism and the doubt and the second guessing and the negative ninnies, all the crap that's been going on. I know we share fan base. And this is the thing. When Tim Lewicki came to town and separated the teams from each other, management got separated and we got fixed. And that's the thing that Raptor fans need to realize. We are not the Leafs. So stop treating us like the Leafs.
Wow. You're hitting everything on the head for me. So I hope I'm not interrupting, but a friend of the pod as well, Alex Wood, he recently said, we're not Leafs fans.
Yes.
Like everyone give your head a scratch. We're not Leafs fans. We don't have this. We lost for a long time. Took us a long time to win, but we don't have these like the amount of compounding tragedies as the Leafs. Like it's kind of like we were othered and there's a lot of things going on, but hey, is that a ding from Matty D?
I just heard compounding tragedies. I'm like, that's the best way to describe the Leaf fandom. For sure.
I'll tip my fake sombrero to that,
Hang on. The car on the icy road goes where you put your eyes. If you put your eyes on the middle of the road, you'll stay on the road. But if you put your eyes on the ditch, you go into the ditch. So you got to keep your eyes on the center of the road if the car's sliding all over the place, out of control. So if we want to manifest success like Masai Ujiri wants, we have to have a collective mindset that is successful.
Car on the icy road. I absolutely love it. I fully agree too, though. I think there is a certain amount of like, not fully like the secret, like put it out there. But I do think, the constant negativity, the constant self-loathing, it's a little bit like it begets like a negative truth, kind of.
Why?
Yeah. And
Why?
I think we're all in a space where we've recently won. And, even if we are on a road back to kind of like redemption and like being good and, working some stuff out and figuring out what to do with Goran Dragic. That's okay. Like I certainly am in the trust Masai camp. I was in the Colangelo era. I know what flashy moves can do. They can get you excited for a little bit, but patience, it's going to pay off. Like we had a bunch of years of incredible winning and, ended in a championship. And my goodness, last year was rough, of course, but yeah, new times, new era. Alexey, I want to stick with you.
Okay.
Oh wait, sorry. I actually want to move on before. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm chopping things up a bit. I usually do a silly Raptors question, but we're gonna do a silly NBA question. But before we do that, we're just gonna take a quick break for some ads. Shout out to Matty D. Yeah, he loves just my smooth ass transitions there. But Maddie, if you feel like we're ready to move on to the NBA, please, good sir, just give me that delicious Adam Silver sounding sting.
This is Adam Silver.
Whoops.
National Basketball Association.
That was wonderful. I, for some reason, thought there was more than 2 foghorn sounding. So if you're checking out on YouTube, I went for the double pump or the quadruple pump rather. Didn't work out. Maddie, please join us all. I want to talk some, just some kind of fun theorizing about how the game works. If you do ever nerd out and you look at like rule changes, there's quite a bit more than I think most people realize. And they're a lot more frequent than people realize. The 3-pointer wasn't added till I believe was it late 70s?
That's right.
The hand check rule, which is why we have Harden and Trae Young, is in the 90s. So, there's so many big or even small rule changes have greatly affected the game. I'm not necessarily looking for rule changes here, but I've been reading a little bit about the Elam Ending, which is the format that a lot of people were introduced to during the All-Star game. I believe it was. I don't know. I think they used it. Is it 2 years in a row now or 1 year? I'm not sure. I can Google that and correct myself. But
I think it's 2.
Yeah, I think they've done it twice. But it was really exciting. The players dug it, and it's a bit out there. But I think when you see it play out, it's kind of like, wait a second, this is pretty different and pretty cool. So yeah, just like in the spirit of that question. I kind of want to know if anyone has any ideas about, how you might change the scoring, how you might change the flow of the game. Obviously, silly answers are absolutely welcome here. Let's start with you, Cathryn. Is there, in the spirit of Elam Ending, changing something about the game and the way it's played? Do you have any ideas?
Yeah, so I think the most obvious thing is the 4-point shot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Let's have a 4-point shot. That can be the half court line. I'm good with that. I don't think we need to draw a new line. But then what I want to introduce is beyond the half court, the opposites court 3-point line should be a 5-point shot. That'd be incredible. Or a 6-point shot because it's like that far away. And so people argue that's not good for the game, but I want to see players jack up as many ridiculous shots as possible. I want to see the lowest percentage shots going in, changing a game. At me.
Somebody might, you know what I mean? Somebody might at you.
This layup. We're only scoring 70 points a game. Shit, it's over. Let it go. That's where I'm at.
I like it. I like it a lot. That's
Thanks
what I was
so much.
asking for
Thank
with
you.
this question. Cheers.
So only additions. And, like I've always said, the more replays, the better. Foot's on the line. We got to look at it. Stall.
More replays.
Stall.
Eric Stahl, Jordan Stahl. for some hockey fans out there. Other stalls, I believe there was. Mark,
Other
perhaps.
stalls.
Good call. Yeah, Mark is right.
Jared,
Don't forget Jared.
I don't know if he made it to the NHL. Cheers.
I don't think.
Probably their parents. You know what I mean? Shout out to Cam Ward and the Hurricanes. They're really good at that year. This is not a hockey podcast, but
You could have said any guy's name and stall, and I would have believed it. Like, I have no idea.
yes. That's exactly what I was looking for with this question. Like the 4-pointer, and I love the 5-point. I love how you wanted to change some things, but also you don't want to draw new lines. Like
We can use all the existing lines.
keep the existing lines, folks. Let's not mess around here. Okay, let's go to you, Alexey. What's up?
I had similar ideas as Cathryn. I used to watch the MTV Rock and Jock B-ball games, like back in the 90s when they'd have like the celebrity games, and they always had like a spot that was like the 5-point spot, and it was usually like out there, like with guys like Steph and Fred VanVleet and stuff like that shooting out there. This is gonna happen. Like this is gonna be a thing. The 4-point line is gonna happen at some point. I see it as kind of like a rainbow, like kind of thing, unlike what Cathryn's saying, and then like half court maybe 5 points. But the my wrinkle is penalty box. I mean, obviously, you guys were just talking about hockey. Now, I know 5-on-4 won't work very well, so the penalty box will work this way: you take that player out that's offending, and they got to sit out. You can sub somebody else in. But that person can't play for 5 minutes because they did a cheap shot or something like that.
I like this.
I like that so much that I have to go to one of my backup answers because I had a crappier version of your idea. And I've always wanted that for soccer as well with yellow cards.
This makes sense because I have a crappier version of Cathryn's idea. And
No,
that's why I
your
switched
version-
to the
your
penalty
version-
box.
Your version's better, actually,
No,
because you have an actual drawn line like a
But you
rainbow,
have
which
a
is way more
reverse
fair.
3-pointer. That's awesome. Reverse 3-pointer. Come on.
Reverse 3-pointer is awesome. Not gonna lie.
That's why I said maybe it should be worth 6 points because it is
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good. Maddie, what's up? You got any ideas here? You gonna incorporate some hockey? What's going on? Snowblower?
Well, maybe a little bit, but it doesn't really pertain to anything on the court. I do want to change the like how the standings work. I want to get rid of win percentage. I do want to bring points into the standings, and I would like to see mainly the reason I would like to see this is that I do want teams to get rewarded for making it to overtime. Because I feel like it's hard to finish a basketball game tied. And if there's a way that you can do points for wins, and then say both teams that go to overtime, they each get 1 point and the winner gets the extra one. And then you can still have regulation wins as like the tiebreaker in the standings so that, at the end of the season, if they're, two teams are tied with points, who has more regulation wins and you know what I mean? So yeah, I just feel like that'd be better because every time they go to overtime, I'm always like, man, this is such a tough feat sometimes to get to. Sometimes it goes to double overtime, and it's just like I feel like it'd be cool to show that in the standings a little bit. That's
Maddie, I like where you're at. I hope that my backup idea isn't too in direct conflict of yours. Because it might be, but we're all just spitballing here. I don't know if we're all leaning into hockey or whatever, but mine, I really liked when the NHL introduced and kind of kept the shootout, and I was spitballing in that direction, but I don't want to change the actual game of basketball too much, and I was thinking about this Elam Ending. So my idea is that when it goes to overtime, there's an average amount of points. Let's say each team scores like 10 points or whatever. And that's just it. There's no timer, and the first team to get to 10 points wins, period.
Yeah.
So whether that's on a free throw or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I think that would change the dynamics a little bit and, skip the whole double overtime thing. And just kind of like a hard 10 points. Whoever gets there first wins the game, period. End of story. So that's my idea. My penalty idea was very similar to yours, Alexey. It was basically just it was a 5-on-4 scenario, but that's why I think yours is way better because 5-on-4 basketball just truly does not work. Like it's
It
like
can't
that would
work. It's too
it would be-
easy.
yeah, like it would be too insane. I think Shout out to majority owner Vivek Grenadivier, if I pronounce that name right, of the Sacramento Kings, who genuinely suggested that when he bought the Kings. He said, "What if we do 5-on-4?" And a bunch of like basketball executives had to be like, "You're our boss," but that's the dumbest thing we've ever heard, sir. And yeah, that leaked, and he was. Anyways, he's still the owner. Shout out Vivek. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the next question here. I want to start with you, Alexey, and where I'm going here is who do we? I wonder if there's a consensus, but we'll see. Who do you think is going to have the worst regular season record, or just be the worst team, even if it's not the worst record, heading into the 2021-2022 season?
Well, I'd like to take a moment to do something right now to another team in the NBA that is done to our team all the time, and it's called gaslighting. The Boston Celtics are going to be the worst team in the league this year.
Oh,
they're just going to be. I have no reason for it other than they lost a player who was a point guard who was so important. But they're going to be a garbage team this year because they lost Kemba Walker. And I didn't look up anything. I didn't do anything to research that. I'm just saying it because that's how it works in the NBA. You lose an all-star point guard and you're garbage all of a sudden.
I do think you need a really good point guard to kind of like run the show for like a, to be a
They got
competent.
Schroeder, right? Schroeder.
Yeah, Schroeder's their guy.
Schroeder.
I think they've definitely taken a step down. And again, anyone who's listened to this podcast for a long time knows I love to bash me some Brad Stevens. So Brad Stevens, the GM, I think is off to a I don't know, not so good start. So I'm happy about that.
Rookie head coach.
Who is their head coach again?
Udaka.
Oh, yes. I think so. I can look that up and make sure I hit the name right. But he's actually an interesting coach. I think I like the coaching choice, but I do think Stevens and Ainge, I guess, kind of bungled this treasure trove of draft picks they had, starting with the Kyrie thing. And I love to hate Boston. So I love that answer so much. Cathryn.
Okay, I did not think of a gaslighting answer.
That's okay.
Didn't really read into the question that hard. Worst team. This is gonna be interesting because I feel like out of the bottom tier teams in the NBA, I don't know who's trying yet or not, if that makes sense.
Yes,
the
totally.
Timberwolves, are they gonna finally try?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't know if they're trying yet. Or even with the Houston Rockets, they have Jalen Green, right? And he looks to be very promising, but are they trying yet? I don't know. Right? And also, I mean, speaking of Sacramento, I don't know what Sacramento has done in the last 15 years, if I'm being completely honest, in terms of strategy. I don't know if they always seem to be 10th or not 10th, but 10th always seems to be their ceiling is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I mean, to me, it's going to be between those three. I don't see, I can see them trying to invigorate their fan bases with certain players. I don't see it being completely grim, but I don't see them being anywhere near the play-in. So I don't know. I mean, that's three teams. I didn't pick one.
That's all right.
I'll pick maybe the Rockets because I think they're just. I don't think they'll be there yet. But Jalen Green looks promising.
Yep. I think
they're not going to be the worst team. Who am I kidding? They still have Christian Wood.
John Wall.
Wall.
Detroit might be the worst team.
Oh, Detroit. Yeah, it's probably Detroit. Sorry.
No, that's
really botched this question very hard, but it's true. I guess I it's hard to say because I just don't know who's going to go for it.
No, I think that's very fair, and especially in the West, Minnesota and Sacramento. I think will be trying when they start off. However, the West is just so wildly competitive. Minnesota, I think, they have some stuff with Anthony Edwards and Towns and Russell. I think there's some talent there, at least to kind of
Okay,
get
they
behind
got
bit.
Patrick Beverly,
Mhm.
and I'm rooting for them to be bad so I don't have to see them more than once this year.
Very fair.
Because I truly hate that guy. I know he's very polarizing, and some people are like, "Oh, whatever." I'm like, no, this guy's like literal trash. I do not like him.
You can put me in the camp.
I don't care if he
I'm
used
not
to
a fan.
play in Europe and has a story. Like, I don't care.
No, I mean, the moment he injured Westbrook, I'm like, you're dead to me, sir.
Yeah, that's how I feel. And just like pushing Chris Paul in the back.
Pure heel.
I mean, give me a fucking break.
That's some
Anyway, that guy deserves to be on
yeah.
a team that no one's watching.
Chris Paul getting pushed in the back and enjoying it is truly one of the best owns I've ever seen. I actually just watched finally the Malice at the Palace doc, and so upsetting for so many reasons. And it made me think about other kind of potentially violent moments in the NBA, and Beverly really has potentially precipitated some awful stuff. And I think, yeah, I mean, I love toughness. I don't even mind when a guy's a little bit dirty. I remember when the news about Dragic was coming to the Raptors, there was a lot of talk about how he's a dirty player. And I think, Raptors fans don't love to talk about it, but Kyle does some stuff. And I think,
we like a player that's like Charles Oakley tough.
Yeah.
Right? Like Oakley's too much of a man to push some guy behind the back. Like, he's going to push him when he's looking right at him.
That's right.
At least.
Yeah,
like
at
least. At least he's going to be looking him dead in the eye.
And then Oakley,
he's going
to move into your house. It's messed up. He's going to push you. He's going to look you in the eye. Then he's going to say, "I'm your roommate, sir."
He's going to sleep next to your wife. Doesn't matter.
Right.
He's just, that's how it's going to go down.
It's going to be a platonic relationship.
It's absolutely platonic.
I think I said
he's just
plutonic,
making it. He's not doing anything. He's just making an overarching point.
That's right. Yeah, he's making a point of what he could do. Oakley is messed up. He gets in your head.
And then he goes on Dancing with the Stars.
I think Detroit is probably a better answer.
I'm so sorry.
So I feel like I have to switch to that, but I'm going to go Orlando. I think that Orlando is in a full rebuild. I think, Suggs is a potential rookie of the year, which is for me huge stats on a team that's quite bad. I feel like they're going to want to develop him. And I think he's just going to rip it up and be fantastic, but I think they're just going to lose games like crazy. And this goes back to the Alexey point. I think if you don't have someone who knows the ins and outs of the NBA, and they don't have a lot of options around them, I think they're often in a situation where the losses are going to pile up. I think they're very young as well. And for me, it's the Orlando Magic. I think potentially, OKC, potentially Houston, Detroit is probably a better answer than the Magic. But I'm going with the Magic here. Cool.
They're all good. They're all good. Honestly, they're all garbage teams.
I'm so sick of OKC tanking for picks. Like, can they just start winning and drafting already?
I do. Okay, I'm 100% with you, but I will say I was shocked and a little bit happy that they finally did something with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They signed him to a big contract. It's like, are you starting to try to be competitive? Like, I don't want to say I'm all the way anti-tanking, but I think after witnessing the process and where it's come to with Simmons and with Embiid, I think it's like you're really overthinking what basketball is if you think you can bottom out that hard and then somehow have a successful rebuild. Like,
I'm all the way anti-tanking, all the way.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't. I've said a million times on this podcast that I think the Raptors are, in league with, the Jazz, the Heat, the Spurs, maybe the Pacers to a lesser degree, the Nuggets, teams that realize that it's not about being as bad as possible to then get good. Sure, if you're bad, if you have a bad season, you try to, take advantage of that. But winning culture at this point as a Raptors fan and development, I think downplaying that is your loss, really, as an analyst and a fan.
It's a huge thing. Is the system. Is our system will be good no matter who plays for us. People will come and go. I don't care who comes and goes. We have players, we will win because of our system.
You're right. No, it's true. And I think the emphasis on our development has been huge. I think poor Bruno died for our sins, sort of, because he's the guy who he didn't get to go to the G League, right? And
oh man,
then we got a G League team, and it's like whoever comes to the Raptors will do something for you. We'll kind of make it count. Even a guy like Stanley Johnson seemed like he was out of the league a little bit.
Went up.
He rehabilitated his image just enough, and he's signed I think a minimum with the Bulls. So shout out to Stanimal. I think we're gonna wrap this up with some quickish questions. Maddie, good sir, why don't you give me your most delicious quickish questions? Sting.
Quickish Questions.
Okay, we've made it to quickish questions. I'm going to read these questions as clearly and concisely as humanly possible. We'll see what happens. Might stammer, slur, repeat myself, get confused. That's okay. You all have to answer as quickly as humanly possible. No delaying tactics. You just got to let your brain fire. Maddie D, I'm looking at you. Don't rev that snowblower up. Or rev it up, actually, because that would be a fun delay tactic. We just got 3 questions, so I think I'm gonna do like a speed round all play. So
Okay.
we'll just play every question. Everyone gets a chance. Maddie, when you're ready, fire it up, and we'll go Cathryn, Alexey, Maddie. Okay, Cathryn, how comfortable are you to return to Scotiabank Arena?
Ooh, not that comfy. To be honest, I'm more worried about people being weird than I am actually getting COVID. That's kind of crazy, but that's how I feel right now.
Very fair. People are being weird right now.
Yeah.
Alexey, how comfortable are you to return to Scotiabank Arena?
I just recently went to a Blue Jays game, and they got I wasn't very comfortable at that game. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not probably gonna go to another Blue Jays game, but I will definitely go to a Raptors game, and I will probably be at either the Washington game or one of the preseason games for sure. I'm very comfortable.
Good stuff.
Right on. Maddie, how comfortable are you to return to Scotiabank Arena?
I'm going to say that I'm more comfortable than when they originally announced that people were going to be coming back in, because it was like be vaccinated or like have a negative test. And I just thought of like, what a nightmare that's going to be. People like, how do you get in these negative tests so fast? Just seemed like a terrible idea. So now that it's only fully vaccinated people, that does make me feel a lot better, but still going from this room to 18,000 people, it's just going to be hard either way, but
100%. I'm with you, Maddie. I think it's going to be hard. I'm definitely thinking about the QR codes, the lineups, like sitting in my seat. Okay, sure. In the lineups and the bathrooms and everything might be tripping. Just for fairness, I'm going to do reverse order. So, just so not everyone gets the same amount of time there. So Maddie, I'm going right back to you.
Holy shit.
That's right. Masai was on the CBC front burner today, and he said we should prepare for some ugly basketball. So being honest, do you think he's even eyeing any trades this year?
I think that Masai is at his best when he can grow the team, and the blockbuster kind of Kawhi thing, I think it's, a lot of things have to line up for that to work. So I don't think he's got that on his plate. I don't think he's looking to make some blockbuster kind of thing. But he's the thing I love about Masai, and I'll try to be quick about this, but loyalty is lacking in this league. It's a problem, right? So I find that he, growing these prospects from the draft, it just creates so much loyalty to him and to the franchise that it's kind of like, I feel like he's fighting against a wave sometimes, and you just got to really appreciate, his loyalty that he has.
Well said. I will say the whole question again, but yeah, Alexey, Masai on CBC front burner. Do you think that he's eyeing any trades for the Raptors this year?
I think other than the Dragic stuff we were talking about earlier, I really hope not. I hear a lot of dumb stuff about Bobby Simmons recently. I hear a lot of dumb stuff about Pascal Siakam getting moved. We can't move these guys. They're our legacy from our championship year, and we need them to be around to instill the championship mentality in the young rookies. This year will be ugly because we got rookies, and they got to learn the system. They got to learn the NBA, and they're going to make rookie mistakes. But these guys are smart, and they're going to be faster than regular rookies because they're going to be in a good system. And I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year, Scotty Barnes is going to be looking like an all-star almost next year.
Oh, I love it. Cathryn, is Masai eyeing any trades for the squad this year?
I don't think he's eyeing any major moves, although I think he always has his eye on the pulse, if that makes sense. But I'll say this, I don't like it to make a very long story short, because this is a quickish question. I think everybody that is kind of in the top tier of the Eastern Conference is operating on a 2-year window. So if the Raptors are taking a year or two to retool, I say rebuild, but I don't mean that in a tanking way. I just mean in a literal rebuilding way. That's fine, because then this whole Brooklyn Nets thing will be on the tail end of that. The supporting cast of the Bucks won't be the same, et cetera, et cetera. Then we'll be right there. So I think it's a good move to build in this kind of a timeline. So yes, I agree with Masai. We need to embrace this retooling process. We need to embrace the rookies and the rookie mistakes that will be made.
Great answers, everyone. Masai is a patient man, and I feel like we're patient analysts. Cathryn, what's the state of sorta shawarma in the upcoming season? Is it not at all, still sorta, or fully, completely?
I'm sorry, what is this shawarma?
Sorta shawarma, a bit of a deep cut near my section 309. There's a restaurant called Sorta Shawarma. It is truly that. It's sort of a shawarma. So it's shaped like a shawarma, but it's also got lettuce in there, corn. It's kind of a mixture of a beef patty and a shawarma.
Okay. Got it. I think I've been.
Yeah. The question to you is, will that exist as it was? Or maybe is it going to go all the way patty, all the way shawarma, or stick in the middle, or not at all?
Okay, I think it's going to exist as it was, but I think that's terrible, and I think it should not exist. And I think I've been to a Detroit Pistons game in Detroit, and my God, is their food significantly better than our stadium food. Our stadium food is generally crap. For a world-class city, it could be improved. There is so much good shawarma in Toronto. There's no excuse for this. Come on, get out of here. Get out of here.
You're not feeling the sorta. Alexey, what do you think? Full, not at all, sorta?
I'm actually an expert on this subject because I was a former food and beverage concessions worker at the Air Canada Center.
Oh! Did I just get canceled? Did I just cancel?
No, you're fine. You're fine. You know what? Because the food is crap at the Air Canada Center. I know that. But I will say, shout out to Miss Sadie up at Pizza Stand on the 300 level. That's my lady, Miss Sadie. I worked with her. She worked for the Leafs since the Maple Leaf Gardens back almost since they won the Stanley Cup. There's some people in there that have been there that long. And those are my people. I love my MLSC. Union, concession workers, union.
Yes.
Wow.
Alexey, loving the union love. Seriously. Maddie, you're giggling. I don't know if it's about the sort of shawarma or what, but
I think it's about the unions, just the general love for unions.
Wow. Sort of shawarma. I've never experienced it yet. Hopefully I get to go to a game with you sometime again in the future, Fred, and experience this sort of shawarma. Maybe we'll do a pod in the game. I'll record on my phone and we can do a little sort of shawarma taste test. But you know what? I do think that sort of shawarma is going to come back. I heard that they're getting new machines to help warm the lettuce. So I think that's going to be
just the lettuce.
People need to know there's hot lettuce in there, okay?
Yeah, wilted
hot
lettuce is
Who
what
wants
I
hot
that?
lettuce.
Who
It
wants that?
Sorta, I do. You know,
It's against the
Right?
union, Maddie. It's against
Unicode. Yeah, I say don't give up on sorta shawarma. Yes. Blows my brain open.
Perfect answers all around. That's it. We've made it to the end of the pod. Thank you both so much. Thank you, Maddie D. This was a really fun one. I was laughing like crazy, and just thanks for everyone who's been listening. Again, the podcast was really growing throughout August and September, and we're gearing up for a really, really fun season that is going to have a lot of different types of storylines. Let's go to you, Alexey. First, is there anything you want to promote? Let people know what you're doing. I talked a little bit about the backyard documentary stuff, but go for it.
First, I want to say before anything, people out there need to put. All right, you know what Fred VanVleet's statement is? Bet on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Raptor fans need to go and put money on the Raptors to make the playoffs right now at Vegas, because you're going to make some money this year, because we're going to the playoffs this year. I don't care what anybody's saying. We have winners on our team, and they won't settle for less. If they're healthy and they're in Toronto and there ain't no COVID on the team, we're going to the playoffs.
Woo!
So put some money on there. That's your hot tip right there, because last time I saw the odds, it's like plus 260 just to get in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway. But besides that, I'm on Twitter. I post new music videos on Twitter. It's on the screen right now. You can go look at them. I just posted the new Drake recently. I love it with Kawhi in it. Of course I love it. Look at my wall. And then, I'm also thinking about doing a new YouTube show in my backyard with nature. That's what Freddie was talking about earlier. I feel like I've got this really good camera and this thing from far away. I'm going to film wasps eating things and fighting things and stuff like that really close up. And I think people might enjoy it. We got to get back to nature, y'all. Come on.
100%, man. People need to get in. I will say, you have an exuberant personality, but everything is landing. And for anyone who watches the Vegas Raptors thing, I think the Raptors are like, if they're not the team that overshoots Vegas's expectations the very most, they're super close. And I think out of the last 12 years, they're like 11 times they've went
Easy
over
money.
what it is.
Easy money.
Betting on the Raptors against Vegas is legitimately easy money. And you know what? This year I might do it. I might goddamn do it. Cathryn,
Freddie.
what's up? You always got a lot of stuff going on. I know you're moving back into the city. Don't want to plug that because, hey, let Cathryn do her thing.
Come to my new place. That's my plug.
Help Cathryn move in.
Yeah, please move some
Charles
boxes
Oakley.
for me. Yeah, Charles Oakley, please come over. You're invited. What do I have going on? Okay, so I have the Buckets and Tea NBA pod. We're on hiatus, but we'll be back in October. We have the Pickup WNBA podcast. Myself and Freddie host that bi-weekly pod. Check that out. WNBA playoffs are coming up. It's super exciting. It's a really tight race. And if you're a new WNBA fan, this podcast is for you. We're very good at bringing new fans into the game. I actually have a comedy announcement to make. God, it has been a year and a half since I've had any legitimate comedy to promote, but I am recording my first ever comedy album on October 15th and 16th at Comedy Bar. Please come, please laugh. If you're a judgmental person, please stay at home. This is a recording and I desperately need you to laugh. I'm very nervous, but very, very excited for that. So finally got the official word on that today. So super excited.
Cool.
That's fantastic. Cathryn, you're hilarious. You deserve it. That's going to be a really, really good album. I'm sure it will sell out. People definitely check that. Go to comedybar.ca, I'm assuming, Cathryn. Yeah, I'm sure you'll announce who's performing, opening for you, and all that kind of stuff in good time.
Yeah, I can say it's myself and Kate Davis that are recording albums, but I don't know
Amazing.
who our host is. But yeah,
Cool. Yeah, congratulations. That's fantastic news.
Thank you.
I'm sure that album's going to do well as well. Crush some iTunes records.
For half an hour.
Yeah, half an hour records. Hey, who's counting? That's it though. We've made it to the end of this pod. It was a really, really fun one. Thank you both so much. Again, thank you everyone who's been listening and supporting. We're having a good time here, and I think we're getting really excited for the end of the season. Maddie D, if you feel like we're good to go and we're done, please, sir, just give me those sweet words. Okay.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.